Hobby Farmers. I'm Bevan Cohen from Small House Farm, and today I'm going to show you how to transplant your tomato plants. Now, tomatoes are a long season crop, and they love warm weather. We typically start them indoors on heat mats under lights. Because of this, it's very important that we keep up on the chore of transplanting our young tomato plants into bigger pots so that they don't get root bound. If at any point in these early stages of their life cycle, if these plants do get root bound, it's going to stunt their growth, it's going to slow them down, it's going to have long-term effects really throughout the entire season. So we want to avoid that from happening. Very easy thing to do. We just got to pot them up into bigger pots. Once your tomato plants have 2 sets of true leaves, that means they're ready to transplant into a bigger pot. And you will notice a difference almost immediately. We got these plants right here that have yet to be transplanted, and they are getting a little leggy. These are plants that were transplanted just about a week to a week and a half ago. Look how much they've already starting to grow. You can particularly see that in the stem. Much thicker stem. That's going to be a very healthy plant right there. And then look at, after just 2 weeks time, look how much bigger these plants have gotten. That's a nice looking plant right there. This one's about ready to go out into the garden. Now, let's go back to those first plants, these little guys here, and I'll show you how to pot them up. So the first thing we need to do, of course, is choose our pot. I like to choose a deeper pot like this. We're going to want to bury these plants pretty deep into the soil when we transplant them. I'll show that to you here in a second, but just having a nice deep pot like this is going to leave plenty of space for this plant to grow. It's not going to get root bound. Just want to pop this guy out and see all the roots everywhere. This is ready to go for sure. We'll get a little soil into our pot. Now this is the most important part of transplanting your tomatoes. We're going to want to bury these tomatoes all the way up until this first set of leaves. All of this stem is going to go into the soil, and that's okay. Along this stem, you can actually see the little nodes already starting to form. These are all going to turn into roots. So by burying our stem this far deep into the soil, all this stem is going to turn into root system, which is going to give our plants a nice, vigorous, and healthy root system so that they can thrive. So we want to dig them right down in there, get them nice and deep. That's why we want such a deep pot, folks, right there. Buried it quite deep into the soil, but it is going to absolutely love it. We're going to want to make sure we water it in real nice, get it nice and settled, keep her in a full sun area. And your plant can live happily in this little pot for plenty of time until it's ready to go out into the garden. And once all chance of frost has passed, we're ready to take our tomatoes out into the garden. Just like when we transplant our tomatoes and we bury them up to this first set of leaves, we're going to do the same thing when we take our plants out to the garden. We're going to bury them again right up until their first set of leaves, increasing the amount of stem that's in the soil, allowing room for more roots to grow, giving ourselves healthy, vigorous, and strong tomato plants. Now, there's certainly going to be some other tomato-related chores throughout the season, trellising and pruning and that sort of thing. But this simple chore right here of transplanting our little tomato plants into bigger pots so they don't get root bound, that's going to go leaps and bounds to ensuring a bountiful harvest of delicious tomatoes all summer long. All right, that's it for today, hobby farmers. Happy growing. Now, although our young tomato plants do look quite erect, essentially tomatoes are vines. And as they grow, and especially once they have some heavy fruits on them, they're going to lean right over and just start to sprawl across the ground. Now, this is going to cause our tomato plants to be prone to disease as well as rotting of the fruits themselves. So this Florida weave system is going to help us lift these plants up, keep them out of the dirt, so we can have a long season full of delicious, juicy heirloom tomatoes.